Recorded Books and RB Digital present Lucky in Love by Carolyn Brown. Narrated by Brian Hutchison. Chapter 1. Beau stomped the brakes and jumped off the three-wheeler, anger boiling up from somewhere down deep in his scuffed-up cowboy boots. "What in the hell do you think you're doing?" he shouted at the back of the skinny, short stranger on the other side of the fence. The fool held the reins of a jet-black horse and was looking out across the pasture at several white-faced heifers and his prized Angus bull that nobody ever borrowed for free. Not even his best friends or his favorite neighbors. "You idiot! That's my stud bull you've cut this fence and let through," he continued to rant as he passed through the tangled barbed wire. Jim Torres had hired very few dummies in his life, and when he did, they didn't last long. This man would be riding his big black horse into the sunset before nightfall, once Jim found out about this. If Jim Torres didn't fire him on the spot, then Beau fully intended to string him up in the nearest oak tree. Considering how little the fellow was, he could do it single-handedly. The man must have cow chips for brains to deliberately cut a fence and let an Angus bull in with purebred white-faced cattle. Either that, or Beau had just walked into the first step of a rustling job, in which case the man could look forward to spending a long time behind bars. Millie heard a commotion behind her and turned to see if Alice Martin, or maybe even Buster, had come to help. Her grandfather, Jim Torres, was going to have the kind of hissy fit seen only in the front gates of hell, if that big Angus critter actually bred with one of these cows. Thank goodness the big black bruiser was just eating grass and didn't seem to be interested in the cows milling around him. She'd arrived only yesterday to help her grandfather while he was recovering from hip replacement surgery. A cut fence and a big mean Angus bull in the pasture weren't exactly what she had in mind for her first day's work. Millie gasped when she saw the man, yelling at her instead of the bull. She put her hands on her hips and glared at him. "What are you doing here? And why in the hell did you cut the fence and let that stupid Angus bull in with purebred white-faced heifers? Don't you have any sense at all? Wait till Alice finds out that she's got a cowhand that don't know purebreds from culls. You might just as well crawl up on your play pretty back there and go pack your bags, 'cause Alice Martin is going to fire you by nightfall." She pointed toward the three-wheeler and shook her finger under his nose, amazed that she could utter a single word to the blonde-haired man. Just how in the hell had he gotten to Oklahoma? And why had Alice Martin hired a drunk like him? One thing was sure, he could pick up his paycheck, because he'd just pulled the damnedest stunt in history. Beau stopped dead in his tracks, not 3 feet from the stranger who turned out to be a feisty woman instead of a short man. Her brown eyes flashed with as much anger as danced in his steel blue ones. She jerked her hat off in the middle of her tirade, and hair as black as the bull grazing in the pasture had fallen down to the middle of her back. Her lips were full and sexy, and her eyebrows arched in pure rage. A tingle on the nape of his neck said he'd met this hellcat somewhere before, but he damn sure didn't know where. He might be a sucker for dark hair and big brown eyes, but no one was cutting his fence and using his prize bull without paying stud fees. To be threatening him on top of her stupidity was adding insult to injury. And Beau wasn't in any mood to explain to this upstart female that the Bar M was his ranch now, not Alice Martin's. He pointed his finger at her. "Don't you lie to me. You've cut this fence and thought you'd take advantage of my prize bull. That bull is worth a whole pasture of those ignorant cows, and I don't just let him breed nobody's cattle for free. Not even Jim's, even though he's my neighbor and friend. Either that, or you're lying your way through an attempted rustling." She slapped his finger away. "Get back on your land, and don't point at me or yell at me again. I didn't cut the fence, but I'm damn sure going to repair it so your horny bull won't be on lazy Z ground again. And I am not a cattle rustler." She shoved her hand in the pocket of her tight blue jeans and hoped it didn't burn a hole right through the denim. Just touching him brought back memories she'd buried and long since tried to forget. It all went to show just how damn fickle her body could be. One touch, and she was a melting pot of passionate hormones again. "You ain't repairing a thing."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?